Shalom, giving all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachak, Wadash. Double honors to the apostle and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect. Uh, wanted to do a video on this whole thing with Whoopi Goldberg, how she was pretty much speaking against the 1948ers. And, all they did was suspend her for 2 weeks. But anytime that you speak against these people who claim to be the people of the Lord, there's so much, heat coming down upon you anytime you speak about, what happened to them and things like that. But we know according to prophecy that they're not the people of the Lord, that they're fakes. Like it says in our Revelation 2 and, if I'm not mistaken, 2 and 9 and 10, where it says they are of the synagogue of Satan, who say they are Jews and are not. So anytime you come against these people, anytime you say anything against them, there's so much backlash against what you said, or they get so much help. But why is it that why is it that none of the atrocities happen to our people? Specifically in this video, I want to focus on the Native Americans. Why is it that there's no, why is there no, help or any cry out except for us? But seeing as how you so-called white people seem to care so much about justice and things like that, what about the evils that your forefathers did to the Native American Indians? Why is there no cry out against that? Why is there no, defense for them? If you care so much about justice, if you care so much about people and want to help people, why is it that you don't try to right the wrongs of that? Why is it that you want the things to be righted against the so-called Ish people, the 1948ers? But why is it that you don't want to right the wrongs of the evils of your forefathers? But it's going to be rectified one way or another. But just wanted to bring that out. That why is it that there's never any cry out against what happened to the so-called Native American Indians? They'll say that what happened to the people of 1948 was, a genocide, but this was the real genocide that happened to our people, because Native Americans, they fit the curses, as well as the so-called Hispanics. So this is the definition for the word genocide. It says the deliberate killing, excuse me, the deliberate killing of a large number of people from a particular nation or ethnic group with the aim of destroying that nation or group. And that's exactly what you so-called white people, I'm just going to say it, you white people, because that's what you like being called, you white people did that to the Native American Indians. You committed genocide against another race of people. Why is that not being spoken about? But anytime something happens to these people, it's just so much backlash. You can't say this, you can't say that. But there's nothing being said about the atrocities to these people. And these people have not been rectified. There's nothing, no good has come upon them. You can look up articles, and in my honesty, unless if a brother around me is from Gad, I've never met a Native American Indian in my life, because I've never seen them, because that's how low you brought them. So I found this article. This is an old article, but it still has relevance, and I want to bring out some precepts. And Lord's willing, this will be an edifying video. But before I do that, let me bring out a precept actually. This is Habakkuk chapter 2 and 12. It says, "Woe to him that built a town with blood and established a city by iniquity." Right, and that's exactly what you did when you came over here and slaughtered the Native American Indians. I have books, you can look it up, research it yourself. The Native American Indians were peaceful with you, they were kind to you, and then you came over and slaughtered them. You killed their men, you killed their women, the children, and then you call them savages. But you're the ones that came over here and slaughtered people who were nothing but peaceful with you, and then have the nerve to sit there and call them savages when you acted like savages. You acted like barbarians. You acted like madmen. And then when they defend themselves, you call them savages, you call them crazy. You say we have to destroy them because these people are too savage like, too beast like. We have to colonize them. But you're the ones that came over here against peaceful people. They helped you. It showed you that they're not savages because they knew how to take care of the land before you came over here. But here it is, when you came over here, you say you have to colonize this land, you have to make this land better because they wasn't taking care of it right. So you know better and things like that. But look at what you've done to this land. This land was a fruitful land. This land was beautiful. And ever since you came here, this place has been just going downhill. So I'll read that again. Habakkuk 2 and 12. Woe to him that built a town with blood. And that's what you've done. You've built this land of America is built upon blood. That is the foundation of America. That is the start of America. That is the beginning of America. It's blood. The blood shed here of the Native American Indians that you so-called white people came over here and did. This is what your forefathers did. This is the legacy of you so-called white people, which really you're Edomites. This is your legacy. Your legacy is blood. Your legacy is not glory and all this great things that you like to sit there and say that you've done. No, your legacy is blood, and blood shall pursue thee. It says, woe to him that built a town with blood and establisheth a city by iniquity. Right. So let's get into this article now. It says the long history, and Lord's willing, if I'm able to, I'll put this article in the description box as well. It says the long history of the unfair treatment of Native Americans. This is a quote from Martin Luther King. Our nation was born in genocide when it embraced the doctrine that the original American, the Indian, was an inferior race. All right. Here it is, you're the basis of all men, but then you're saying that our people are inferior race or our people are 3/5 of a man. But here it is, you're calling people savages and things like that, but these people were nothing but peaceful with you. But then you come over here acting like a fucking animal, acting like the beast that you are, and coming over here slaughtering people with no remorse, no thought. Excuse me, just acting like a wild animal, literally like a beast. That's how you came over here. But you came over here with guile because you knew what you was doing. You knew that you intended to kill these people. But you came over here with guile. You came over here like a serpent, acting like you wasn't going to strike, but you really wanted to. Matter of fact, I have to get that precept now. Hold on, Salakia. Oh, it's not this one. Is it 51? Where is this? Is it not 50? Hold on, give me a sec. Let me find this precept. Because one was 50. Okay, it's 55. Salakia. All right, let's just start from 20. Psalms chapter 50, Psalms 55 and 20. He had put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He had broken his covenant, right? Every covenant that you made with the so-called Native American Indians, you have broke, right? You have put forth your hands against such as be at peace with you. Again, they were at peace with you. They helped you. They did nothing, no wrong, no evil to you. But again, yet you call them savages. You call them wild men. You call them beasts. You call them, red people or redskins when you're really the red man. Here it is. Everybody has a normal color, But you the only one that changes anytime, you know, the weather, the temperature changes outside. It gets cold, you get blue. It slap you, you turn even more red. You hear it as you calling everybody color, but anytime something happens to you, you change color. What's up with that? Verse 20 again, he had put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He had broken his covenant. Right, you're not a trustworthy person, man. You're a serpent. You sit there and act like you're not going to do something, but really in your mind, you devise evil. You devise iniquity. And want to sit there and act all nice. And anytime people want to sit there and speak against your atrocities, whoa, 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 these guys are radical. These guys are extremists. Look at the shit you've done. Pardon my language, but you people are wicked, man. Nobody wants to be around you people, man. You're being exposed. You're losing your power, and you're losing your damn mind because of it. Who the hell wants to be around a savage like you? Here it is, you're calling everybody else a savage, but look at the things that you've done, not just to the so-called Native American Indians, not just to the so-called Hispanics, not just to the so-called black men, but to all races of people you've done evil to. Everybody. Now, mostly it's been done to Israel, and I have a precept for that as well. But you've done evil to everybody on this earth. You've done wickedness to everybody. So now people are coming for your head, man. And the Lord is setting it up so. Continuing, verse 21, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. Right, so you speak peaceable words, but really you're imagining evil in your mind. You're imagining how to overthrow somebody. You're imagining how to kill somebody. That's a savage-like mindset. People who are peaceful with you, people who have structure, who have order. You know, there's books I have. There's one book here. It's called The 10 Tribes of Israel, or the True History of the North American Indians, showing that they are the descendants of these 10 tribes. You know, there's books like that, um, you know, that show that when you so-called white people came over, you analyzed the Native American Indians and you saw that they have the same customs as the so-called Jews of old would have, because they are the 10 tribes that came over here during the time of Shalmaneser the fifth, if I'm not mistaken, when he kicked them out of Samaria in 722 BC. And then a couple of years later, they came over here to Arsaret, which is another land, which would be America. You know, they had order. Although our people were going off, you can see that what they still had structure. They had order. The way they acted. It was off because you know we wasn't following the law, statute, commandments. We wasn't following the heritage, but you could still see that they had some type of structure and order. You know, they wasn't acting like savages. A true beast is coming over. A true beast would come over here and deceive people, act all nice, and then want to slaughter all of them. And anytime something is said against them, oh, what's wrong with you people? But Salakia for rambling on. Let's just get into this article. The introduction of a vast new land to the conquistadors and explorers of the European world market. So let me read that again. The introduction of a vast new land to the conquistadors and the explorers of the European world marked the end of culture for the indigenous people of America. From then on, natives became seen as less than man. Since colonialism, Native Americans have received the worst treatment history has to offer. But hey, anytime these 1940, oh no, they went through the worst stuff ever. To hell with what those people went through, man. You're not the people of the Lord. You're fakes. While the feast between the colonists and the Indians did occur once in 1621, the diverse and grateful tradition did not truly start the national Thanksgiving holiday. According to the day, a Connecticut-based newspaper, in fact, Thanksgiving has a darker origins rooted in the maltreatment of a native tribe. Celebrating the beginning of their yearly corn harvest with their 4-day-long green corn ceremony. I'm going to try to say some of these Indian names, Salakia. It says the Pequot Indians were unsuspecting victims of a massacre. Right, because they wasn't expecting it. They saw everything was copacetic, everything was Gucci, everything was fine. Because again, like a serpent, you was pretend like you didn't want to do nothing, But in your mind, you knew what the hell you wanted to do. You wanted to strike. You wanted to kill these people. And of course, we know according to prophecy, according to scriptures, that's that enmity that the Lord put between us. That hate that won't go away that you have in your mind against Jake, right? Says they were unsuspecting victims of a massacre. Early in the morning, members of the Massachusetts Bay Colony arrived and brutally murdered 700 unarmed tribal members, and stated by Huffington Post. As stated by Huffington Post. The next day, John Winthrop, the governor of the colony, called for a day of thanksgiving as a result of the colonists' safe return from the massacre of savage heathens. So here it is. These people don't expect nothing. Chilling, like I said, copacetic because they thought everything was peace, right? Like you like to say peace, peace to everybody. Kill 700 of them and then want to give thanks for being, for saying that we slaughtered these savage heathens. Think about that. Think about the mind of a person that does something like that and then says something like that. You think you want to be around a person like that? But our people want to be tethered to these people. You, excuse me, apologies. Our people want to look at these people as saviors. Think about that. This man slaughtered 700 people and then calls them savage heathens. Mind you, these people were nothing but friendly to them, kind to them, gave them food, was chilling with them. But then you slaughter, and I'm pretty sure you, not just men, slaughter the women, children, and then gives thanks about that. These are your Christians that came over here, by the way, as well. There are people like calling themselves Christians because the true Christians are the one who follow Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. But these are your Christians that came over here that you people like to sit there in the churches and call yourselves. This is the, like I said, this is the legacy of these so-called white people. This is the legacy of Edom. Slaughter, blood, massacre, genocide. That's the legacy of this man. And you want to keep yourself tethered to him? Continuing on. Though the meaning of Thanksgiving has been completely altered to a day of reflection and family, it is important to understand the dark beginnings and the atrocious crimes on Native Americans, right, which goes on talked about, except for the men that Yahweh Bashim Yahushua set up. But like I said, if you people are want to speak about justice, if you care about justice so much, you should speak about the fact that what your forefathers had done to the Native American Indians. If you care so much about justice, if you care so much about righting wrongs and things like that, or speaking about the wrongs or the ill treatment of other people, why don't you speak about this? Why is this not brought up? Continuing our history, which is American history, Edomite history, Edomite legacy. Our history is one of ethnic genocide towards natives, and it has transgressed with glorification of murder. Exactly. The presidency of Andrew Jackson saw hundreds of atrocities by the government of Native Americans. Jackson's Indian Removal Act of 1830 legalized and glorified ethnic cleansing. Tens of thousands of natives were displaced, forced off their own land to make more room for the cotton plantations of the South. And that whole Trail of Tears was taking them out of their lands and putting them somewhere else. Lord's willing, if the Spirit allows, I would like to do a video on that as well. Basically taking them out of their lands and placing them somewhere else. That's what's called the Trail of Tears. And on their way there, they died by diseases and things like that. Lord's willing, if the Spirit permits, I would like to do a video on that, if the Lord wills. But that's your history. Taking people from their own lands and then putting them somewhere else, and then taking this land as your own, and then calling it America, and saying we got this land by good means, when you never did. This place was established by blood. You don't think that, for you Christians, you don't think that God hears that thing? You don't think that God saw that? You think that God's pleased with that? You think he's all, oh, don't worry, I forgive them, it's all love? Oh, don't worry, he's going to show how much he loved what you did to the so-called Native American Indians. Oh, don't you worry, he's going to show that indeed. He's going to show you exactly how he feels about what you did to his people. Salaki, I lost my train. Right there. It says tens of thousands of natives were displaced, forced off their own land to make more room for the cotton plantations of the South. It is with legislator during passed during Jackson's presidency that doomed natives for the future. In 1831, Chief Justice John Marshall declared that Indian tribes were domestic dependent nations in the case of Cherokee Nation versus Georgia. Marshall further made his point by claiming that their relation to the United States resembles that of a ward to his guardian. The decision behind this case enabled Andrew Jackson to perpetuate a reign of terror on Native peoples, which are so-called Native Americans. Despite the fact that this decision was overturned in another court case the next year, Jackson continued to impose upon the natives, specifically on the Cherokee, Chickasaw, Choctaw, Creek, and Seminole people, with the inhumane Trail of Tears. Keep going. The events that followed contributed to the bleak future of the natives. In 1851, Congress passed the Indian Appropriation Act, the first step in officially confining tribes to small, impoverished reservations. Forced assimilation permitted by the Dawes Act did not bode well for the tribes either. Many tribes were part of involuntary assimilation into white cultures, into your bullshit ass culture that does nothing but kill people. It's death culture, really. That born this nigga culture that we have today that our people hold on to, sorted into boarding schools that taught them to be Eurocentric definition of civilized. But hold on, so your culture is civilized. So when you come over here and slaughter people for no damn reason, although we understand why this happened, but still, when you come over and slaughter people for no damn reason, that's civilized. See, this is why our people, like I said a couple seconds ago, act like you. This is why you have this nigga culture where it's just killing your own brother and just acting like a damn savage. This is this is your culture. Act like a damn savage. Act like a damn barbarian that our people hold on to. That's actually your culture, not this thing that you like to portray on TV that you're nice people living in these white picket fences and all that. No, you act like a damn beast, like a damn monkey or barbarian that's lost its damn mind. That's your culture. We actually have a proper culture when you go into the history of how the men act. The scriptures give our people how to conduct ourselves, how to think, how to act around their elders. But because we don't, because our people don't want to come back to that, that's what they act like damn savages and they don't know anything because they picked that up from you. That's your damn culture. Ain't no civilization or acting civilized in your culture. You're a bunch of damn savages and beasts. You have the nerve to call other people savages. Continuing. Where was I? It says native youth were taken from their families to learn proper mannerisms, stripped of their culture and everything they knew. Soon enough, many native cultures were lost to the prejudice and egotism of those of European descent. They saw a loss of their tribal religions and how Catholicism and I'm going to try to say this word the best I can. Protestantism, Protestantism, Salak if I'm saying that word incorrectly, is now prevalent on reservations instead. Even today, the treatment of Native Americans by Caucasians is abysmal. Reservations, as an effect of many laws enacted by the U.S. government, have been relegated to poverty. According to the Atlantic, Native Americans have a rate of poverty of almost twice the national average, the highest of all racial groups in America. This is a problem that originates with the government, which originates with you people, you so-called white people, you Edomites, as they make it nearly impossible for those to Slakia, as they make it nearly impossible for those who live on reservations to move upward in society. To simply receive a permit for energy development on reservations, companies must go through at least 4 federal agencies and 49 steps, according to Forbes. By contrast, off reservation, it takes only 4 steps. In addition, legally speaking, tribes are not capable of owning or managing their lands. Forbes write that the government is the legal owner of all land and assets on reservations, and because of this, they cannot mortgage their assets for loans like other Americans. The government agencies in charge and the laws in place withhold economic growth from occurring on native reservations. All right, I'm not going to read all of that, but you can read the rest of that yourself if you want to. Look into that. Lord's willing, I'll be able to put the link of this in the video box. Just want to bring out more precepts. Don't want to ramble on, but that is the legacy of you so-called Edomites. I mean, sorry, you so-called white people, which are biblically your names is Esau. That is your legacy. That you have builded a town with blood and establish a city by iniquity. That's what you've done, and you want to act all great. But don't worry, the Lord's going to show you how he feels about that very soon. And you want to talk about all the atrocities done to the so-called Ish people, to the people who call themselves Jewish, when they're not Jewish. They're fakes. This is Daniel chapter 9, reading verses 11 and 12, but 12 is the point. It says, Yea, all Israel have transgressed thy law, even by departing, that they might not obey thy voice. Therefore the curse is poured upon us, and the oath that is written in the law of Moses, the servant of the Most High, because we have sinned against him. Right? That is the reason why our so-called blacks, so-called Latinos, and so-called Native Americans went into captivity under you so-called white people, because we transgressed the laws. And that was a part of the curses, that if we didn't obey, the Lord put a nation above us. Verse 12, and he had confirmed his words which he spake against us and against our judges that judged us, by bringing upon us a great evil. For under the whole heaven hath not been done as hath been done upon Jerusalem. So the real people, so-called blacks, so-called Latinos, and so-called Native Americans, you're the real people you're the true children of Israel. You're Jerusalem. You're Yerushalayim. And nothing under the whole heaven hasn't been done as has been done to our people. We're the ones that have gone through so much hell, so much atrocities, but yet it's never spoken about by these people who seem to care so much about justice. Matter of fact, let me get this real quick. Spirit just gave this to mine. This is Matthew 11 and 12. And from the days of John the Baptist until now, the kingdom of heaven, which is us, suffereth violence, and the violent take it by force. So that's what was happening to us, man. The violent took it by force, which is you so-called Edomites, and we're the kingdom of heaven. You took us by force and brought us into slavery. Should have brought this precept out earlier, but, just reading about the atrocities that happened to your people, it does bring out emotion in you. Because, these people like to act like they're so good and, oh, we care, but really you don't give a damn. Because anytime this stuff is brought up about what happens to us, and people bring out, which we don't want reparations. Really, the reparations is you. You're the reparations. That's who we want. We want you. We don't want your money. We don't want your little gold or whatever you can give us. No. We want you. You're the reparations, buddy boy. And that's who we want. We want you. We want you in chains. We want our foots upon your necks. That's what we want. We don't want your money. The elect don't want money. We want you. To bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters honor. This honor have all he his saints. Praise ye Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua. That's what we want. Ecclesiastes or Sirach chapter 10 verse 8. Because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another, right? So this is the unrighteous dealings, coming over here and just slaughtering people. Injuries and riches got by deceit. The riches of this land, you didn't get this righteously. You got this by taking this from another people. This was their land. This was their riches. And you took it and slaughtered them and then called them savages. Again, this is your history. This is your legacy. This is your true history. This is not critical race theory. This is not a theory. This is fact of what your people did. And you have statues and you glorify these men of the things that they've done. But now it's coming out of your wickedness, of your evil. And people are separating themselves from you. You're losing your power. Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua has taken the power from you. So get this last precept. Actually, no. I gotta get it after this. Have to get it. Why did it go back there? I hate when it does that. This is Second Thessalonians chapter 1, verse 6. Seeing it is a righteous thing with the Most High to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you, right? So you trouble our people, you touch the apple of the Lord's eye, he has something to say for that. So we're going to put you into captivity. You put us in chains, we're going to put you in chains. That's going to happen very soon. And like I said, got to get this. Have to. This is Obadiah and verse 17. But upon Mount Zion, which is to Zion, the monument of the Lord, which are you so-called blacks, so-called Latinos, and Native American Indians, you are Zion. Like I said, you are Jerusalem, you are Jerusalem. You make up the 12 tribes of the nation Israel. But upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance, and there shall be holiness. The Lord's going to clean us up. He's going to give us those new bodies, this new mind, and put the laws in our inward parts. And the house of Jacob shall possess their possessions. Like I said, we don't want the money, we want you. You're the possessions. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau a stubble, because that's what you want to do to us. You want to destroy us. You want to completely wipe out our people. Remember, race it, even to the foundation thereof. You want to completely do away with our people. But that's what the Lord's going to do to you. After 1,000 years of captivity, after you serve that, you're going to be done away with. That's the legacy of Esau Edom. Nothing but death, blood that follows you. But at the end of it, that death and blood is going to follow you back at the end. It's going to come back upon you. And your whole nation, your whole race is going to be done away with. Thus saith the Bible. Don't be angry at me. This is what Yahweh Bashem Yahushua wants. And he's going to come down and make that happen. Reading that again, verse 18. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau a stubble, and they shall kindle in them and devour them. And there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for Yahweh had spoken it. So like I said, this is what the Lord wants. This is what's going to happen to you. There should not be remaining any of the house of Esau. You're going to be completely done away with, eradicated, exterminated, just like how you want to do to our people. And it's only right, because we did nothing to you. And yet you want to kill us all the day long, man. You devise ways to eradicate us, man, and then want to smile on our faces like you're our friends. But don't worry, like I said, the Lord's going to show out very soon. Like this year has been coined the year of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua turning up. So don't worry, he's going to turn up very soon. But pray that this video was edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem Rachak Qudash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect. Shalom.